Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and welcome to a brand new loot video for you all today. So today I bring you guys a pretty interesting one. This is going to be loot from 10 hours of recharging Amulets of Glory. Now obviously there's only one item that you can get from this, so this loot video will only have one thing if we are lucky enough to see it, and that is of course the Amulet of Eternal Glory. Seeing the prices on screen there, it is actually sad to say that an Amulet of Glory 6 is worth 3 GP less than an uncharged Amulet of Glory. I'm really not too sure why that is. In the last video that I did regarding charging Amulets of Glory, it was about 115 GP profit per glory charge from 0 to 6 doing this in the wilderness. And nowadays you actually lose money by charging glories. I guess on the bright side, since the last video, the Amulet of Eternal Glory has gone up about 10 mil in price, so it's hovering near 40 mil, and about a year ago today it was closer to 30. I imagine this is because not many people are charging glories, and I think I can see why nowadays. There's no profit at all. It is guaranteed just in RNG if you're lucky enough to get 1 in 25,000, the Amulet of Eternal Glory, of course. And luckily for me, I actually was able to get one in my last glory charging video. I did about 25,000, and I did get my first one around 11,000 in. Didn't receive a second one, which means I did 14,000 glory charges without seeing an Eternal, which means getting into this video, we are already on a dry streak. So I'm really hoping that we break that dry streak, see that Eternal Glory. In about 10 hours time, I'm guesstimating that we're going to be able to charge about 16,000 Amulets of Glory, more than halfway to the drop rate, so I'm really optimistic about that. I did start this video at 3 p.m. EST yesterday. I wanted to do this all in one sitting, so I just used a notepad to track my hours. It was pretty simple. I know you can use RuneLite, but I'm just more old-fashioned, so the notepad works for me, and I was logging every break and everything like that. It was pretty easy to do in just under a day. 10 hours is not too much, and I think I only managed to fall asleep maybe once or twice during this grind, so just for a couple seconds. You know, doing this same thing over and over again, this is pretty click intensive. It's not AFK at all. I was on my Iron Man account doing some amethyst mining on the side as well, so you're able to do things like that, but in regards to the actual clicking, it's just a lot of teleporting and a lot of banking. I'm sure you guys probably remember that from the previous video. The gear choice for this video is really irrelevant because there's not a lot of PKers here. I'd only be worried about PKers if you're in the combat levels of anywhere from 3 to 60, because the only people that I really saw here often were lower levels just trying to range and one-hit anyone who's charging these glories. Well, there was this one guy bolting me at the obelisk, but luckily for me I was in the right place at the right time there, and I don't think I would have died either way because I don't think he had many freezes with him, if any at all. You might run into PKers. I was running into them in 2200 total worlds, maybe a total of 3 in this video, and 2 of them were in there, but I would just log out very quickly or just be at the obelisk and be able to get away. I didn't see too many bots here when I was using the 500 worlds. I was in 520 and 519 quite a bit, and I didn't see a single bot, so I'm not too sure if there are lower levels here. If you guys are lower levels in game and wanting to camp this area, I can't recommend that you'll make anything from it yet, but as it goes for people just charging glories in general, I think it's pretty slow these days. The Amulet of Eternal Glory was released into the game June 30th, 2016, so it's over 5 years ago, and to this day it's still very useful. I mean, I don't see many Iron Man accounts with it, as you can imagine, because you gotta recharge these glories to get it, so you gotta stack up these amulets. Very hard to obtain on one of those accounts, but as it goes for mains, these Eternal Glories are very useful for just teleporting around and never running out of charges, obviously. It's very good for clue scrolls, and it's very good for diaries, things like that. Getting around the game quickly and swiftly, especially if you don't have a crafting cape, this is the thing for you. But with a price tag of 40 million, not everybody can afford it. I certainly can't afford it right now, so I'm hoping to get one myself, but I don't know if I'll be keeping it. I'll definitely sell it at these prices. If you're curious as to why I was bringing 25 per inventory, it's the same reason that you don't have to bring gear for this. There's just no one to be scared of. Not a lot of people are going to be here, so you can just log out quickly. 1 Sarah Brew, 1 Super Restore, and 1 Stamina Potion seemed to do the job for me. Had I not been using gear for the first hour of this video, I probably would be using less stamina sips. I could have just used Boots of Lightness and a spottier cape. That'd probably be what I'd recommend for you guys, if you decide to do this, of course. But overall, after the first hour, I was just using nothing except the Wilderness Sword, which is achieved from the Elite Wilderness Diaries, and you can teleport directly to the rune fountain with this sword. So it is very key if you want to do this efficiently, but again, it's not 100% necessary. You can of course use Anacarl and things like that, but it will take much longer. So with the main focus of this video being the Eternal Glory, I wasn't paying too much attention to how much money I was losing per glory that I was charging. From the first Grand Exchange clip, we did see that you would lose about 3 GP per glory that you would charge, but later on in the video when I sold the first 8,000 that I charged, this was not the case, and I actually started to lose even more money. It's just very surprising to me because I remember many years ago, many years hours ago, recharging glories was one of the best money-making methods in the game because the price difference between a Glory 6 and a Glory 0 was just so much more than, losing money that it is now, or even the 115 GP profit that it used to be a year and a half ago. The only thing that I can really contribute to this is the charged Dragonstone jewelry scroll, which if you're unaware of this item, essentially you get it from Clue Scroll Rewards. All tiers of clues do have them available. Although they can't charge the Ring of Wealth, only the Fountain of Ruin can do that, which is what we've been going through this whole video. It can, however, charge glories. You can just use one of these scrolls and charge 27 glories in your inventory with them. You can also charge combat bracelets and skill necklaces if you've done the Legends quest, but it is crazy that one of these cheap scrolls, which is only worth about 208 coins a piece, can charge all of your uncharged and partially charged jewelry in just one inventory. So it really saves the hassle for Ironman accounts to have to make their way to this deep wilderness fountain and, risk anything and everything, all their glories especially. Saves a lot of time. So maybe it's because of that item that kind of drove the price down. Just it's not needed as much, and I guess rune crafters can do the same thing. Anyone using the Abyss to rune craft still needs those glories. I'm sure there's still rune crafting bots in the game that do purchase these, but I just think the demand is not there compared to what it used to be. All these methods of rune crafting, not many people using the Abyss in general these days except bots. So I would say that glories have seen their highlights and they've seen their good times, but nowadays they're just not as popular as they used to be. Other than skilling, they're just used in the wilderness because they are pretty good for tri-Bridding, good with range, magic, and melee all at the same time for a cheap price of 10k, so you really can't beat that. Throughout this video, I was pretty confident that I was going to get the Eternal Glory. It has not happened just yet, but I will say, seeing it in my last video and being 14,000 dry coming into this, I was pretty optimistic. I was very dry, and I just thought that maybe, just maybe, I'll get lucky enough in these 10 hours to do so. I think on average I was charging about 1,500 glories per hour, so that's not too bad. Again, that's all due to the Wilderness Sword and all the efficient teleports. Not AFK at all, but if you just pay attention, you should be able to get that rate with the same setup. And doing this through nighttime really was a challenge. I was trying to not fall asleep too much, but at the end of the day, this was all for the Eternal Glory, and really just kind of looking at the glories, every single inventory. I actually recorded every single charging that I did here, and I was just waiting to see that dark purple color. The bright is nice, but the dark is what we want to see, and the 40 mil price tag on it is why we want to see it. I also do want to put this out there that I am trying to upload more videos this month, a couple 10 hours here and there, and a few 30 and 24, and they're all kind of building towards the Road to Elysian series. I'm doing some things on the side for that as well. So hopefully with this video and all the other ones that I'll be throwing at you guys, we will increase the bank value, which currently sits at around 200 mil roughly. Had a re-up on bonds. So with that being said, the Eternal Glory would be a huge benefit to this bank account, and I really hope we see it. But with 1 hour left to go, and overall in this video, 15,000 amulets of glory have been charged so far, all in the night. And I will say that doing this 14,000 before this, I really thought I'd have it by now, but you never know. It can always be the last inventory. It can always be the very first inventory. That's what this RNG game is all about. So I just continue to do this. I did run into a few max players doing this as well, a couple people doing clue scrolls in this area, and a few PKers along the way. But overall, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, 10 hours later with our very last inventory, 25 glories left. Are we going to be getting the Amulet of Eternal or not? I would assume not. Or maybe, just maybe, no, just kidding. Loot from charging glories for 10 hours has been completed. Let's go see how much we lost. That was really rough to go through. Hopefully we'll go back one day soon and get it, though. We are on a huge dry streak now. 16,000 Amulet of Glories were charged, and I did have to sell them this time around for 11,800 compared to the 12k that they were in the very beginning of the video. So overall, we did lose 2.2 mil on the glory sales, 200k from the staminas, and no Eternal Glory was achieved. So yeah, went up 500k though in this video, so there's still hope for that. Overall though, the notepad is shown here on screen, the hours that it took to do this. Unfortunately, no luck this time, but tomorrow hopefully will bring something. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much for watching the video. Good luck to you if you decide to go for this. And until next time, Mr. No Sleep,